विग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौली स्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमां मीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् सततज्वर विषमज्वर ग्रह नक्षत्र दोषाञ्चान्या हर हर काली सर सर गौरी गम गम विद्ये आले माले काले बन्धे भज भज विद्ये मख मख विद्ये नाशय नाशय पापं हर हर दुःस्वप्नं विध्वंसय विध्वंसय
To the audience this afternoon. Today we have a very special presentation on happiness and wellness 9 from Bina Mirchandani, and she'll be speaking on occupational wellness. And if you have been to the program this morning, you'll know that we heard from our panel at Reiki Center for the Science of Happiness, IIT Kharagpur, talking a lot about wellness in the workplace and happiness in the workplace. So we're going to continue along this line of karma yoga and understand more about the workplace. Now, a lot of times we in the yoga field think, okay, we're doing yoga and yoga is separate from, let's just sit here and do our yoga on our mat. But what Bina ji is doing is, as a chief faculty of Ritambara Wellness, which is a partner with Indica Yoga in bringing this global festival of yoga to the world. So actually a big thank you to Bina ji and the entire organization for the immense support of this online event that this year Indica Yoga has had the honor to host. And what's unique about Bina ji is that she brings in decades of experience in the management and retail field and developing wellness in the corporate world. So as I mentioned before, a lot of times we think we have to go somewhere for experiencing yoga, and Bina ji has done this also through her role as a trustee of the School of Ancient Wisdom in Bangalore. It is, for those of you who have not been to it, it is one of the most beautiful spaces across India, well worth your time to take a course there or even just visit for a day. But in addition to her work with the School of Ancient Wisdom, Bina ji has brought wellness into the corporate world. She has a rich industrial experience of over 40 years in brand and retail strategy, 25 years of study in the spiritual teachings, in learning to live life to its fullest. And because of this, Bina ji brings us a very unique perspective in the issues of life today. Bina ji is a graduate of the Bajaj Institute of Management Studies in 1977, but looking at her, you wouldn't think that she could have graduated in even 2000. So somehow she's managed to maintain, possibly because of learning to live life to its fullest, she's maintained such a youthful glow and smile all the time. She's worked in a lot of strategic roles with corporates such as the Future Group, Reliance Group, Arvind Group. During her career, she noticed a shift in the workplace where she found a new, young and dynamic India dominating the workplace. And she sensed in them a strong need for understanding principles by which they could live a happier and more productive life. And also the rapid changes in the marketplace forced industry to work faster and more efficiently, and thus bringing a lot of stress in its wake. So with that knowledge and experience gained over the years on this subject, Bina ji felt it has been now the time to spread the knowledge on how to best live a happy, healthy life and achieve success. And she's launched a program called Happiness Differential, and she's known as the Happiness Mentor. So welcome, Bina ji, and please take the virtual stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Namaste, everyone. And thank you all for being here. Let's hope we have a better understanding of our own well-being after this talk. And thank you so much, Indica Yoga, for inviting us from Ritambra Wellness to speak at your Global Festival of Yoga, a month-long conference on celebrating wellness, which is very, very appropriate in this day and age and at this present moment. There will be other speakers from Ritambra to follow, including our program director, Sri Krishnapani K.C. Raju. A special thanks to Vinayji and everybody that I've met here today for coordinating this event. So let's start with the program. I would like to share the screen if that's possible. So I will share my screen. All right, is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. All right, okay. So when we start, before we start, I'd just like to start with a short invocation from one of the Upanishads, which is Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The meaning of this, for those who have not encountered this beautiful mantra before, is from falsehood, lead me to truth, from darkness, lead me to the light, and from death, lead me to immortality. So let's get on with the program. So what I'm going to talk to you about is Wellness 9, And wellness is, there are many dimensions of wellness. One of them is occupational wellness, and I will be talking a little bit about occupational wellness as well. But I do want you to realize that there are 9 dimensions of wellness, and each one of them has to be in its proper place or in a proper balance. So let's get on with this. So what's the definition of health, wellness, and well-being? I mean, we often tend to confuse these concepts. So let's talk about each of them. Health is defined as the overall mental and physical state of a person. It's actually the absence of disease. What is wellness? Wellness is an active, it's a process, by the way. It's the active process through which people become aware of and make choices towards a more multidimensional and balanced existence. It's the state of living a healthy lifestyle. And finally, what is well-being? Well-being consists of 2 main components: how satisfied we are with life and how comfortable we are in our present situation. At Ritambara, usually people talk about 6, 7, or 8 dimensions. At the best, they talk about 8 dimensions of well-being. But at Ritambara, we talk about 9 dimensions of well-being, and the 9th dimension being actually the most important, and we'll talk about that now. So what we talk about is the transcendental well-being, which is the 9th dimension, and that is when you actually transcend all the other aspects. We'll talk about transcendental well-being a little later, but let's understand the other 8 aspects and dimensions of wellness. So here's transcendental well-being. What we have is physical wellness, emotional wellness, intellectual wellness, social wellness, occupational wellness, financial wellness, environmental wellness, and spiritual wellness. At Ritambara, for us, these 2 dimensions are really the most important. We think spiritual wellness and transcendental well-being these are the 2 factors that really are critical in leading a life of meaning, purpose, and of actually, what we talk about, we're always looking for happiness. What are we talking about? This bliss that we talk about, and bliss is different from happiness. It's a very enhanced state of happiness. This bliss is eternal, and that is what we are all searching for. So it's a very, very important dimension that we are talking about. So here we have transcendental well-being, and then we have all the dimensions of wellness. And we talked about why wellness. Why do we need wellness? We need wellness, like I stated earlier, because we're all looking for this elusive thing called happiness, right? Everybody, all of us are looking for happiness at the end of everything. Why do we want to be physically fit? Because we want to be able to do other things that make us happy. Why do we want emotional wellness? Because we want to feel good. Everything that I've listed here, which includes your occupation, which includes your intellectual wellness, your finances, everything, we're all looking for this thing called happiness. And if you want to go to that level of bliss, then we really have to transcend all of this. So what I'm talking to you about here is that in this existence, there's a need for personal harmony in all these 8 dimensions. And finally, transcending to the 9th dimension of well-being. The importance is to live life fully. It's actually like, 8 spokes of a wheel. So if you have one spoke that's bent, or if one spoke is not working well, or maybe 2 spokes are bent, or 3 spokes are not, working well, how do you expect to have a wheel that turns? It's not going to happen. So it's important for us to find our personal harmony and our personal balance in these 8 dimensions, and then finally transcend to the ninth dimension. We all have our own priorities, approaches, and inspirations, aspirations as well. So this is what it means that we have to find our own personal harmony, our own personal balance. So what is transcendental well-being? It's the state of well-being when you journey from self to self and fall into the rhythm of the cosmic pattern. And this is important. We will talk about this again, but I just wanted to bring that because I introduced this concept right at the beginning, and I knew that you would all be questioning what is transcendental well-being. So basically, it's a journey from being a limited person, a limited human being, completely caught up in everything that we do, and moving into a space within us, which is actually our higher self. This is where everything lies, our creativity, everything lies here within ourselves. But we don't actually tap that often enough. So Maslow, I wanted to talk to you about Maslow. Maslow had a pyramid, as you know. He had a need hierarchy, and it started with all these physiological, safety, love, belonging, esteem, self-actualization. And he stopped at that point for many years. I don't know if many of you know that in 1967, he had a heart attack. And at that point, he realized that there was something that was beyond. What if I wanted to transcend this whole human existence? What if I wanted to go beyond? And then he came up in the next 3 years with something called transcendence. And he talked about transcendence, but he didn't, since he had done so much with the other pyramids, he didn't want to disrupt the whole thing, but he has actually talked about transcendence. But if you look at all of these hierarchy, this whole hierarchy, and you look at the wellness that we spoke about, the dimensions of wellness, you realize that at every level, we need some of these dimensions of wellness to be in balance. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And you really, as you go higher up the pyramid, you do need that dimensions to be in some order or in some balance. He actually said, finally at the end, that transcendence refers to the very highest and most inclusive or holistic levels of human consciousness, behaving and relating as ends rather than means to oneself, to significant others, to human beings in general, to other species, to nature, and to the cosmos. So what it means is that, suddenly there is no you. The I that we keep talking about, the I, me, myself, you have transcended that. So let's go on to each of these dimensions of wellness. We'll start with physical wellness. I like this saying that I came across which said, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live in. I don't know how many of you have heard of Jiddu Krishnamurti. He's a famous, very famous Indian philosopher, speaker, and writer. And in his early life, he was actually groomed to be the new world teacher. In his book, At the Feet of the Master, he talks about the body, and he says, treat your body as your animal, the horse upon which you ride this journey of life. Therefore, you must treat it well and take good care of it. You must not overwork it. You must feed it properly on pure food and drink only, and keep it strictly clean always, even from the minutest speck of dirt. So what he's talking about is that look after your body. You must have it in shape. Otherwise, none of the other wellnesses are going to fall into place. If you're sickly, or if you've got a pain, or if you're uncomfortable, none of the other wellnesses are going to be, you're not going to be able to balance them out. So it's important for you to look after your body, but don't be obsessed by it. That's the other thing that the Vedas say, is not to be obsessed by it, but look after it. So physical wellness, the definition is the ability to maintain a healthy quality of life that allows us to get through our daily activities without undue fatigue or physical stress. What are these aspects of physical wellness? So the first thing is nutrition. And a lot of people say that 90% in physical wellness, 90% is nutrition and 10% is exercise. So can you imagine the food that you put into your body is critical, is absolutely critical for you to function well. It's like putting low-grade fuel into a very, very expensive car. I don't know what kind of performance you can expect to get. So eat well, eat good foods. There's a whole list of happy foods as well. And since I'm a happiness mentor, I'm going to throw these things in on a regular basis. So there are happy foods and you can look them up and they actually make you happy. So the first thing is nutrition. Then we talk about physical exercise. We need this. We need physical exercise. And here I'm specifically advocating yoga, not because I'm here at Indica Yoga, but because yoga is one of those exercises where your body and your mind are completely have to be in conjunction with each other. And your mind slows down, your thoughts slow down, and you are in a more meditative state of mind when you do yoga as it's meant to be. So I would advocate that, but please feel free to do any kind of physical exercise that you would like to do. Maintain your weight. It's very, very important. Healthy weight is important. And don't undermine sleep. You have to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Only when you sleep will your body regenerate itself. Did you know that the Vedas say in the 18th chapter, the Bhagavad Gita says that the day is for growth when the sun shines. And in the night, when the moon comes up, it's time for restoration. So you need your sleep. So make sure you get proper sleep so that your body actually recovers. And this is something new that I've been reading about. And this is Shinrin Yoki, which is the art of forest bathing. So in Japan, they've developed this and they've done it very, very successfully. What it does is that when you commune with nature, your vibrational frequency rises. And it's very, very important to do that on a regular basis. In fact, there are places in Japan where you can actually, they have designated a forest walk where the trees throw out natural oils. And those oils, when you breathe in those oils, and these are what we call these aromatic oils that you have today. You can substitute this by buying them and lighting them in your house, but it doesn't actually completely substitute it, because the walk with nature, with your feet touching the floor and looking around you and seeing the beauty that surrounds you is another level of wellness. So the path to physical wellness is exercise 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes per session, get consistent and adequate sleep, eat a variety of healthy foods, and be aware, listen to your body. Most of us tend to not listen to our bodies. We're not sensitive enough. We have to. If you want to be a little spiritually inclined, you have to start becoming sensitive to everything around you. Stay positive and stay happy. Emotional wellness. This, I must say, is one of the more important wellnesses that, if your mind is all cluttered up and if your mind is not at peace, there's nothing else that matters to you. You can have all the money in the world, you can have everything, you can have a great job, but if your mind is not in the right place, your emotions are not in the right place, you will not be in a good space. So what is emotional wellness? It's the ability to understand ourselves, create satisfying relationships, cope with life challenges, and acknowledge and share with ourselves and others feelings of anger, fear, sadness, stress, hope, love, joy, and happiness. Are we able to do that? Think about it. Think to yourselves. And while I'm going through all of these dimensions of wellness, I really would like you to mentally tick off what you think and where you think you are on a scale of 1 to 10 in all of these 8 dimensions that I'm going to be talking to you about. So we've finished physical. Please rate yourself on that. Now we've come to emotional. After we finish emotional, please think about that too. You will actually finally come to a wheel, and you will understand for yourself where you need to actually work. So the aspects of emotional wellness, one is self-awareness and the need for acceptance of your emotions and feelings. Do we deal with them in a proper way? Or are we just supposing we are angry, are we letting the anger just consume us? We have to stay apart from this and watch it. Watch yourself being angry. That is what self-awareness is all about. You need to have a growth mindset. In life, if you don't have this growth mindset and you have a fixed mindset, which Carol Dweck says, then you are half dead. Frankly, you are half dead. You have to enjoy learning. You have to enjoy, because there's a happiness in learning something new. There's a happiness in discovery. So all of that comes with a growth mindset. So what is this self-talk that we're talking about? Self-talk is the internal conversation with ourselves, which influences how we feel and behave. And did you know that 80% of the self-talk is usually negative? You're always talking to yourself and saying what you can do and what you can't do. And mostly it is what you can't do. I can't do this. I won't be able to do that. Oh, that person speaks very badly to me, or this or that. You're always consumed with negative self-talk. So watch it. Again, go back to self-awareness. Watch it. And self-talk is very important because it actually also, it impacts our self-esteem, our self-confidence, and our self-image. And so be positive. Don't undermine the importance of positive thinking. Also, again, we have something like 60 to 80,000 thoughts in a day. And a lot of them are negative. 50 to 60,000 thoughts are just negative. So you have to keep them away. Don't give them energy. Don't. Every thought that comes into your mind, don't give it energy. Give energy to only select thoughts. And then you will be on the path to positive thinking. So what do we need to do? We need to be aware of our thoughts and feelings, staying positive and avoiding negativity, seeking support, sensitivity to others and situations around us, a daily meditation and deep breathing exercise. Please don't undermine this. Carry no emotional baggage. We tend to actually, our mind is really a storehouse of a lot of our experiences. And our experiences, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant, and it categorizes them in that way. So what we tend to do is the negative ones are very sticky and they stay with us, but the happy ones are not so sticky. So, and they are light. The vibrational frequency is very light of these emotions. So they tend to fly off. But the negative ones stay in your mind. So please throw that away and move on. Let go and move on. So I want to talk to you about Sir David Ramon Hawkins, who's a psychiatrist, physician, researcher, and a spiritual teacher. He talks about this very, very interesting vibrational frequencies of emotions. And he talks about the higher emotions having the nicer emotions having a higher frequency, and the not so positive ones, the negative ones, having a very, very low frequency. So what we need to do is we need to move upwards. We need to go into that expanded level of consciousness and not below in this contracted level. This is not going to help us. How do we do that? We need to fuel our body right. We need to be sensitive and compassionate to all living creatures. Need to spend time with nature, and we talked about that when I talked to you about Shinran Yogi and forest bathing. You have to be mindful of your thoughts. Be authentic and be childlike. There is no reason for you to put on an exterior that is not really you. It causes stress. So be authentic. Be childlike whenever you want to be childlike. And even though I have this white hair, I am very often childlike, and my children tell me so. So there's no problem in doing that. Be grateful. Very, very important lesson in happiness is to be grateful. And love yourself. You are nothing short of being perfect. You are perfect for that particular situation and for that particular time. You are actually in harmony with nature. So love yourself. Become a better version of yourself and every day. And this is something that was told to be by my mentor, who some of the people from Indica Yoga have talked about and have visited her school. Her name is Ma Manize, and she used to constantly tell us, become a better version of yourself every day. So when you get back, introspect, see what you could do better. Make the world a better place. Let's talk about intellectual wellness. Please rate yourself on the emotional wellness. Intellectual wellness is the ability to open our minds to new ideas and experiences, recognizing creative abilities, improving skills and seeking challenges, and opening ourselves to lifelong learning. So here is continual learning. We need to learn constantly. We need to have a personal network of people that we surround ourselves with so we can constantly learn something. It's very important for us to learn. And decision making. So an aspect of intellectual wellness is how capable you are of making decisions and sticking by them. So make a logical or an intuitive decision, but when you actually have taken it, stick by it. Because if your mind goes back and forward on this, whether I made the right decision or not made the right decision, you're going to reach nowhere. You're giving the universe very confusing messages about what you think is the right decision. So make sure you do that and keep your mind completely uncluttered at all times. So again, meditate for this, stay uncluttered, keep as little thoughts in your head as possible, give energy to very few thoughts. So here's the path to intellectual wellness. Stay open to new ideas, seek personal growth by learning new skills, use your creativity, declutter your mind, and always search for learning opportunities and stimulating mental activities lifelong. Let's go on to the fourth dimension, which is social wellness. And social wellness is the ability to relate to and connect with other people in the world. It's our ability to establish and maintain positive relationships with family, friends, and co-workers. You need to develop a sense of belonging, a well-developed support system. So you need to belong to a family, a corporate, or an institution, or the country, the world. You need to have that sense of belonging, and you need to have a well-developed support system. How do we get that? Through very nice, meaningful relationships. So here are the aspects of social wellness. You must always talk positively to everybody around you. There is no need to bring down people and to undermine their capabilities or anything. They may be acting from a particular perspective, and you need to appreciate and recognize that. So always stay positive in your communication. Keep social connections, it's very important. And there was a beautiful study done at Harvard, which took all of 90 years, and many professors who were doing it along the way passed on, and other professors took the mantle on. And they conducted this with some people that they actually, they had an intervention with them on a regular basis, and they asked them, what makes you happy? And they, at some points they wrote all kinds of things, but they found that at the end, and they did this regularly throughout their lives as they were growing up and maturing and right into old age, and they found that right at the end, the people that were the happiest Please underline that. The people that were the happiest were the ones who had social connections, not the ones who had more money, nothing of that, but social connections was critical. And meaningful relationships, this is where you can get your support system. So create these meaningful relationships, invest your time and energy in creating relationships that actually are meaningful. So the path to social wellness is make commitments you can stand by, break the cycle of blame and criticism, learn empathy, verbal and non-verbal appreciation, and learn to relate without expectation. When you relate without expectation, then you're doing things because you want to do it for the benefit of somebody else. You're not looking at, I need this, so I should have this relationship. You're not looking at that at all. And experience life with others. If they are joyous, celebrate that joy with them. If they are unhappy, celebrate that with them, or take them through that phase. Do everything with others. I like what J. Krishnamurti, this is again Jiddu Krishnamurti, who we have a lot of respect for here in India. He talks on relationships. He talks about relationships between human beings is based on the image forming defensive mechanism. In our relationships, each of us builds an image about the other, and these two images have relationship and not the human beings themselves. So what we're putting on is a mask that we talk. So one mask is actually talking to the other mask. So this is something that we completely have to drop. Be congruent and be authentic. That is also one of the famous sayings of Mahatma Gandhi, which is to be congruent and authentic. So please remain authentic and you will be a much, much happier person, because then you don't have to worry about this image. You just have to be true to yourself. So now we come to occupational wellness, and I believe you spoke about karma yoga earlier in the morning, and I will also talk a little bit about karma yoga. But before that, let's actually delve into the definition of occupational wellness. It's getting personal fulfillment and enrichment from whatever your career fields are, while maintaining a balance in our lives. So the aspects are, of course, a work-life balance, which we are actually seeing much more of now in the COVID days. Managing stress, this is a very, very important subject, and I won't delve into it, but please be aware that you have to manage stress. Again, I'm going back to telling you once again that please, when you're stressed at work, what you need to do is to just stop for a bit and meditate. Just close your eyes and breathe deeply. Breathe for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and stay like that for 4 counts. Then breathe in again. Just do that for 2 minutes, and you'll automatically find that your mind quietens down, you're able to think more creatively, and somehow the stress is lessening. So please do that. Of course, work relationships are very, very important. And I said again, please be congruent and be authentic even at work. There is no need to project something that I did that for a while and I found it so stressful. You know, I have 40 decades of work experience, but whenever I actually put on this mask, I found it very, very difficult. So be congruent, be nice with your workers, because with everybody that surrounds you at work, because that's the most important thing. You know, nothing can be done without the human factor, nothing. And it's not for anything else. What we do is for the humans back again. So work relationships at work, please don't think that, you know, and there's a lot of things that are happening in today's world. Everybody thinks that I should just show how good I am at work and leave the team behind. But that's not the way to achieve anything. That doesn't work. So please be friendly with your co-workers, be concerned about them, be sensitive to them as well. That's how you develop good work relationships. Do what you love and love what you do. I want to talk to you a little bit here of a very, very nice term in Sanskrit called Swabhava and Swadharma. So Swabhava is your innate nature and your innate capabilities, your nature, all of that. And it also comes from your surroundings, your parents. There's a lot of influences in our life, parents, teachers, everybody. So our Swabhava is slowly cultivated on the basis of everything that we have. And we believe in our scriptures that we actually not believe, I have faith in it, that we have actually we actually get born several lifetimes, and our whole purpose of life is to evolve. So we carry this Swabhava with us. And then the other term that we talked about was Swadharma. And Swadharma is the situation that you are in. Do everything in a model fashion. That's what dharma means, to do everything righteously. So if you can actually combine your Swabhava and your work, and you can find something that you love to do, you'll suddenly realize that you're not working. You're just doing what you love to do. And this happened to me in my career as well, when I was actually doing things that I love to do. The promotions, the accolades, everything just came by itself because I was 100% involved in the work and I was not looking at the fruits of action. So here's where Karma Yoga comes into play, that you are not looking at what you're going to get out of it, but you're 100% immersed in doing what you love to do. So try and see if you can actually do that. And in today's day and age, I think there are tremendous amount of occupations that people can have. And it's so sort of specialized as well that you can pick and choose what you want to do that really resonates with your own nature. So try and do that. And that is where Karma Yoga comes into play. Have a sense of purpose, and that will actually drive you to put in your best effort. So the path to occupational wellness is find a work-life balance, create connections with co-workers, increase your skills and knowledge to advance your occupational goals, enjoy what you do what you enjoy, find the benefits and positives in your current job. Don't compromise. Keep motivated to work towards whatever you want. Financial wellness, and I'm not going to speak too much about this, but let's just quickly run through it. Financial wellness is the satisfaction we have with our current and future financial situations. There is some amount of security that we require, so please go ahead and get it. There is nothing wrong in getting wealth, but wealth as per your needs. Don't go overboard. And that will allow you the freedom to do what you want. So yes, according to Maslow's need hierarchy, this is also very important, which is when you can actually go into self-development and you can go into all of those other spheres. So the path, and I'm not going to go through this in detail, just find a short-term goal and a long-term goal. But if you're not in the financial business, please, I would recommend, I'm 66 years old and I realized that I didn't have enough knowledge on managing my finances. Please get somebody good to advise you. That's the only recommendation I would make here. Let's go to environmental wellness, which is very, very important in today's day and age. And there are two aspects to environmental wellness. So it's the ability to recognize our own responsibility for what surrounds us. First, the quality of air, water, environment, our homes, communities, and the planet, and awareness of our man-made environment. We'll talk about both of these. So here's your home. Please keep it uncluttered, clean, as beautiful as you possibly can, but keep it uncluttered. There's a lot of opportunity. I think all of us tend to clutter our homes in the thought that we may need something sometime, but actually we never use it. Please give it away. Let it be of use to somebody else. Keep your workspace clean. And now, since there's a lot of work from home, please keep your desk or wherever you work absolutely neat and clean, because then you can think very clearly. And then mainly look after the planet. Look after the planet. This COVID has actually been a blessing in one way, very economically. Like I was talking to somebody earlier, it's a disaster, and it's terrible for all the people that have lost their livelihood and everything. But it's giving nature a chance to regenerate itself. We've done so many things with nature, and it has actually upset the balance and order of the universe. And I think this is one time when the air has become cleaner, where everything, the plants, everything seem to be actually in a much better state right now. But we need to now find a balance between the economic side of things and nature. We need to find that balance, which is something that we have ignored. I want to talk to us about our created world. Now, this is something I'm sure all of us recognize this. This social media, actually, it can be a menace, because what you're doing is you're, presenting to the world the best version of yourself. And that's what everybody is doing. And you think that everybody's world is better than yours. And it's actually leading to a lot of people being depressed or unhappy with their own lives. Please don't let this become that kind of obsession with you, because it's not true. Everybody has their share of issues. Everybody has their share of happiness. They only share what is really looks good. So please don't get into this. Also, the amount of time that we spend on social media, I think we have to actually get a handle on it. Same thing for screen time. On an average, we spend something like, there was a study done, and it was like something like between 3 to 4 hours of screen time. I'm not talking about your work screen time. This is beyond, this is an average for all the others who are watching. It's 3 to 4 hours, and that is ridiculous. You're just a couch potato watching things which are not doing anything for your brain. So please get out there, walk in nature, do whatever we need to do. And then the other thing is surrounding ourselves with a world of negativity. Negative friends, negative thoughts. This is our created world, and you have to find ways and means out of this. Negativity, brush away the thoughts that are coming into your head, which are negative, and replant them with thoughts that are positive. So environmental wellness is, I would suggest you ride your bike, and you can do that now. Walk, you can do that now. Take public transportation instead of driving. Recycle and compost. Remove clutter from your home and office, and even from your heads. And adopt sustainability. The other thing we need to do is we need to monitor our social media usage and expectations, and we need to be aware of our screen time, and we need to avoid negativity by staying away from people and situations that are negative. Did you know that the 5 closest people to you reflect your actual mental makeup? So if you're surrounded by negative people, you are automatically going to be negative. But if you're surrounded by positive people, where you feel light and happy and you feel good about yourself, please do that. And the last 2 most important wellnesses and dimensions of wellness, which I would like to spend a little time on, is spiritual wellness, is when we discover the real meaning and purpose of our lives, which is to raise our consciousness. The new code of living with spiritual wellness is living our lives with complete awareness. We are sensitive to everything and everybody around you, including yourself. Living with strong ethical and moral principles. Please do not think that you can do whatever you feel like and nothing happens. There is something called karma, and it's going to come back to you in some way or the other. So please, moral principles is critical. And understand that you are a channel for right action. So when you reach that level of raising your consciousness, you actually get into a state where you really can't do anything wrong. You're just actually propelled to do the right action and experience the oneness of the universe. Start to feel sensitive for everything around you, whether it's inanimate or it's animate. For instance, do you think that the table and chair I'm sitting on right now has no consciousness? It does. All right. It came from a tree. A tree has consciousness. All right. So this also has a limited amount of consciousness. So treat everything with respect. Everything needs to be treated as it should be. Your life is now harmonious with the cosmic order. Let's look at the aspects of spiritual wellness. So the first thing is to raise your consciousness, and we talked about your emotions. We talked about good emotions, which is love, compassion, and sensitivity to everything around us. All of those raise your consciousness. There is this direct perception of unity. When you actually are in that spiritual state of mind, you will find that you feel connected to everything around you, whether it's a plant, whether it's a little squirrel around you, whether anything, you will feel that unity. You will feel the unity with another person. You will feel empathy for a person who is suffering. You will feel all of that. You will feel that it's happening to you. And let's look at this choiceless right action. Again, a phrase from Jiddu Krishnamurti, where you don't have to make a choice. The right action happens. And why does it happen? Because you've raised your consciousness. And this is, of course, Mother Teresa, who we know was just, love and compassion filled her life, completely filled her life. So what we are saying is that spirituality includes a sense of connection to something much bigger than yourself, and a sense of being alive, whole, and interconnected with others and the world. You have an equanimity under all circumstances. You realize that everything that comes to you as what you feel is a challenge. It's meant for some reason. It's meant for you to actually raise your consciousness at this point and deal with it without getting ruffled. Raise your vibrational frequency and feel the oneness. And understand that the journey of life is actually from the I, me, myself, to the whole world around you, to everybody around you, to the bigger, and actually the bigger world is right within you. It's within yourself. This is the higher self that lies within you. When you feel connected, then that is it. Transcendental well-being is about transcending. Now, we talked about these 8 dimensions of wellness. Now, when we transcend it and we go above the I, me, myself, the thoughts and emotions, and then we go on to something that's greater, we realize that happiness suddenly actually turns into bliss, and that bliss is your true nature. We talk in Hindu philosophy of Sat Chit Ananda, and Ananda here is the bliss that we are talking about. You reach that stage where nothing matters. You're always in that blissful state. And that is when you are part of a truly greater consciousness. So transcending the world, and Eckhart Tolle is one of our today's philosophers and teachers. He's written many books. And he's a modern philosopher. He talks about transcending the world does not mean to withdraw from the world, to no longer take action, or to stop interacting with people. Transcendence of the world is to act and to interact without any self-seeking. Please underline that word, self-seeking, because self-seeking is always doing it for the small self, the I. And that is what we have to actually stop doing. So here's the path. There is no path to transcendental well-being. you just one fine day, you might find that you are centered in your inner self and there is no other. You are the same as everybody around you, and everybody around you is you. So that is what is transcendental well-being. You are now part of the universal consciousness. So how do we achieve our personal balance? Self-regulation. That's a very, very important one. And it requires a lot of mental energy, and the brain is always looking for ways and means to conserve energy. Your body is also constantly trying to tell you, I want to take it easy, I want to take it easy, but that is not going to help you. So self-regulation and that determination is very, very important for you to achieve your personal balance. Did you know that habits, every day, your 40% of what you do is habitual behavior, and habits are these neural connections that are made in the brain, and to break them needs a lot of energy. So you have to create new routines, change your strengths, tendencies, and aptitudes. And with self-awareness, you can actually cultivate habits that work for you. So for instance, let's talk about circadian rhythms, which are rhythms of sleep. They reflect our natural tendencies for sleeping and waking, and each one's is different. So that's why I said it's important to actually achieve your personal balance, because each one is an individual and each one needs to find what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And of course, you are all of us are different human beings. Some are promotion or prevention focused, and some like to take big steps, small steps. So please, by all means, do whatever you're comfortable with. But it is important for you to change your habits, to change your life. And I'm going to leave you with one final sentence, which is, are you going to accept yourself or expect more from yourself? Thank you, and stay well. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to stop this share now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bina ji. I think the theme of the Global Festival of Yoga is wellness, and you have given us now a wheel of wellness and touching on all aspects of life. I'd like to now open it up to a few of the audience questions. First of all, can you start by telling us more about Ritambara Wellness, what it is, where it's located, how we can learn more?
Yeah. So Ritambara Wellness is a company that looks at holistic well-being. And we talk about body, mind, intellect, and we talk about something which is the spiritual connection as well. And we think that personal transformation and self-discovery is critical to you actually, moving forward in your own journey. So that's why we've actually, so in Ritambara Wellness, there's a strong thread of spirituality in everything that we do. And the company it's a relatively new company, but we've started with a lot of webinars right now because of the situation. But we actually will be doing corporate programs and retreats in the future when it's allowed. Meanwhile, we will be online. We will be doing them virtually. And we can be found at ritambarawellness.com. So if anybody would like to, please feel free to actually join us. We have regular webinars on various topics, and the topics range from anything in holistic well-being, but we also want to preserve what is there in our Indian heritage. So we do that as well. And thank you, Vinay ji. He has actually he's put it on the chat, so you can all see it. Thank you.
Great. So everybody can use that website to learn more about Ritambara Wellness.
Yes.
In addition, okay, so there's also a few other questions.
Sure.
I think we had one question about how can we enhance our ability to experience the oneness of the universe in our daily life?
All right. A good start for this is really to actually stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about what makes me happy, what I need to accumulate, what I need to do. Start thinking about other people. It's a very, very easy step to do, and do very, very simple things. Start off in a very simple way, like, take somebody across the road that needs help, open the door for somebody, very simple things. Give somebody a hot cup of tea. Just look after simple needs of other people and see the joy that you get by serving other people. Then go on to, something larger. But I'm giving you very, very simplistic. Give a smile to somebody that you pass on the road. Talk to your rickshawala, talk to somebody else, make their life, interact with them. And that is how you will realize that everybody else also has a life. It's not just your life, Everybody has a life, and their lives are also very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. So share in all of that. And that's a really good way to start with the oneness. Respect everything around you. Your cup, how many people, the interconnectedness of people that have put together this cup, this pot of tea, where did the tea come from? Just think of all the people that have come together to give this to you. Look at the interconnectedness of things around you. Appreciate that. Be grateful. And another very, very good way is to be grateful for everything around you. Be grateful. Do a gratefulness prayer every morning or every night for just say 3 things that you're extremely grateful for in the previous day. All right? Just fold your hands and just say, thank you for, it could be, like I said, maybe somebody came and gave you a hot cup of tea. It could be, something very, very simple, very simple. But just do that. Just be grateful for 3 things every day, either at bedtime or first thing in the morning. And you will change your perspective on life, because now you will suddenly start thinking of the positives in life rather than looking at the negatives. Did I answer it?
I think that actually brings us to our next questions.
Yeah.
We have a number of questions on how should we...
I'm sorry, is my connection bad? I didn't hear that. Soumya, can you repeat that, please?
Actually made from time to time, cases spike, thinking authentic without being fake.
It was cutting off. I don't know whether that's my connection or not, but are you talking to me about how we can be more authentic? Soumya?
I think Soumya ji has some issues with her connectivity.
Right, okay.
The question is like this: how can we make positive thinking authentic and tune with our reality without being too fake? Like without having the fake appearance, how can we be positive and authentic?
All right, okay. So the first thing I have to tell you is how to stay positive. Okay, first we'll talk about how to stay positive. Okay, positivity comes from shifting your own mindset. Okay, there's nothing positive or negative out there in the universe. There's nothing. It's how you see it, your perception of it. So you can make a mental shift on how you want to see things. You can either look at failures or what you think are not good situations, as you can look at them as total failures and negative, completely negative, or you can look at them as situations that give you the opportunity to learn something new or to move into a new direction or, do something differently. So that's how positivity can come in. If you have a lot of negative thoughts, please understand that you are a unique person, and the kind of abilities that you have, the next person doesn't have. All right? There is something in everybody that is worth looking at. So please be positive about yourself And if you have negative thoughts, don't give them energy, move them away. Just take a few deep breaths, get into that little meditative state of mind and put something very positive back into play. All right? Think about something positive, a happy memory, anything that's happy. All right? You can do that. Now, how to be authentic? All right? Authenticity is what you really are. You are what you are. And there is no need, for the sake of society, we put on so many masks, and it is absolutely ridiculous because society doesn't give a damn about what's happening to you. They don't care. They will talk about you for one day, and then after that you'll be maybe not even one day. They'll talk about you maybe for a minute, and after that there's another subject that's come into play. So please worry about yourself. Be absolutely true to yourself at all times. You know what happens is that if your thought and your actions and your thought, mind, and your action all doesn't actually fall, and your speech, yeah, that's the third one. So if your thought, your speech, and your action aren't congruent, then you're going to create so much negativity within yourself, which is going to harm you. Finally, who falls sick? Not society, but you, right? So pay attention to that. You have to actually be absolutely authentic at all times. And these authentic, an authentic person talking to another authentic person is what makes for real, meaningful relationships. Did I answer your question?
I think so, Binaji, yes.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely the quest of the society today, and also especially the youth. Like,
Yeah.
how can we be authentic? Because there's so much of superficial existence that is happening, especially that you were mentioning about the social media platforms where you want to show the best face to the world.
Yeah.
And this is a big quest, and we have a few questions on that, and also about positive life. Well, I mean, positive thoughts and positive living. I just put a couple of questions together.
Okay,
And then
sure.
we can take it forward. So Sunil Kumarji, who is also a regular attender, who participates in most of the sessions, he is sharing how to maintain high emotional frequency if the media continually bombards me with negative stimuli. Should I limit reading, curtail curiosity, or flip attention? And also a connected question by Geeta Ramanaji. She says, how to stay positive right now in this crisis? Socializing is prohibited, although virtually we do meet, but thoughts of corona gets us as we are seeing the spike in cases. So how do we stay positive?
Yeah, all right, okay. So I'm going to answer that question. How do you stay positive? All right. So in this, we all realize that this is a bad situation and it's not helping any of us in many ways. Of course, I see nature smiling around me, but apart from that, a lot of us are affected by it. But the fact of the matter is that I think it is a time for introspection. And it's a time for you to understand what is important to you and what is not. And you would have never actually sat back to, think about these things and understand what it is that is important for you in your life. You reprioritize your life now. And that's very important. So, I think in many ways, it's given a lot of opportunity for us to actually go inwards and think. Maybe you can actually, to, be in a better frame of mind, maybe you can actually find a nice spot in your house where you can light a candle, an aromatic candle or something like that, and put on some really nice music, soft music, and stay with your eyes closed, concentrate on your breathing, and meditate for a bit. I would highly recommend that you do that. And you know what it's also doing to us is that it's making the families closer. Have you realized the importance of and the amount of time that we are now spending with each other, with close relatives? We're not meeting socially, we're not meeting other people. But if your family is around you, or if whoever's in your home, your husband or your brothers, your sisters, we're all spending quality time together now, suddenly. We may be getting on each other's nerves, but then, we're actually understanding each other a lot better. So there is a lot of good things also that have come through this. But you have to understand, in a larger perspective, look at the damage we've done to the world around us. And I think in some way, nature is telling us, please step back and look at the situation. And please do something about it. So in future, I think we're going to be a lot more careful. We have been careless about our own sanitization and things like that. We've taken so many things for granted. We are now going to become a little more particular about all of these things. We're going to be careful about where the food is grown, where things are. It's going to make a lot of shifts. And I think a lot of them are going to be for the positive, but useless sort of, unnecessary things are actually going out of the window in this COVID situation. Now, you also posed another question, which is that, youngsters today, and they are, they're out there in this world, and how do they actually behave congruently, and how do they not wear this mask? Well, that's true. The fact of the matter is that if you are wearing a mask, just be aware of it. Be aware of it. Be aware that you're interacting for this particular situation in this way. And frankly, I have to tell you that I'm actually a very gentle, soft person. But when I was heading a whole, sort of department, or not even a department, a sort of a company, at that time, to actually be the boss, I had to behave slightly differently, and I had to put on a mask, but I was constantly aware of it. So to myself, I was actually authentic. I was putting on this mask, but it didn't undermine the fact that I was very concerned about the people that were there working for me. And for me, it wasn't the company's targets as much as it was the people. I was concerned about them, and I used to look after them. I was sensitive to their needs. But yet, at some points, you have to put on that mask. So, but just be aware of it. Be aware.
I think that is very important, at least for oneself, to know that as I'm wearing a mask at the moment.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you start identifying with it, then
that is the problem.
Beginning of all the crisis, I guess.
Absolutely true. Very well put. Thank you, Vinay. Very well.
And also, since we were also speaking about youth and authenticity, I just to make an announcement now and then take up the questions later. We have a session coming up from a young friend later this next week, Ben Viat, who is from Switzerland. He's hardly in his 20s. He has realized so many things. He said at some point of time, I will not be part of this financial system which traps everyone. So he cut his credit card and he's not using a credit cards. He walks barefoot, travels across continents and does not take money in exchange. I mean, the kind of quest that he has, and he will be sharing with us on every place yoga, like wherever you are, however you are, how can one practice yoga? That will be the session he'll be leading with for us next week.
Yeah.
So I'm coming back to the questions here. This is about control. Like there's a need for us to have things under our control. So Sunil Kumarji and Janaki Ramji, they ask, Sunil Kumarji writes, doesn't Swabhava change with life experiences? Not everyone has the opportunity to do what they like to do. Even they want to do, they can't do it. And similarly, Janaki Ramji writes, finding work-life balance is not within the control of a person. They may wish to do it, but they may not be able to do it. So,
okay, so I'm going to talk first about the Swabhava and the Swadharma. All right. So you're in a situation, you're at the workplace and you really don't enjoy doing that particular work, but you have to find there is something, we all have our natural characteristics and we all have our strengths. We have character strengths. You have to play up to those character strengths. So if you, for instance, you are a social being or you're a social person, then at the workplace, cultivate these social connections, all right? And look after them. You will find happiness in just going to work and being with these people, all right? If you don't identify with what the work actually is. But the fact of the matter is that I've noticed that if you actually put your mind to anything, and you 100% put your mind to it without that thought that I don't like this and I don't like this work, you know, when you put 100% of your thing in it, there's so much learning and there's so much things happening over there that will automatically make you happy. Let me give you a very interesting example. You know, of course, we all go to the beauty parlor, to the hairdressing salons to get our hair trimmed and all that. So of course, I have somebody, you know, who does my hair. And one day I went and I said, so please tell me, you know, what do you think you are actually, what is your job? What do you think your job is? All right. And he said to me that, he said, cutting hair, cutting people's hair, that's my job. I said, do you realize that when somebody comes and sits in your chair and you start cutting their hair, and after they've actually finished, you've finished cutting their hair, do you realize what you've done to that person? Suddenly that person with this new hairstyle is so confident, so happy. You've given a whole different dimension and perspective and happiness to this person who sat in the chair. Now, please tell me, is your job cutting hair, or is it making somebody's life so happy, making that person so self-confident, and giving so much to that person to step out into the world? So very similar to that are all these things. Like, for instance, if you're, you know, in the bar and you're just a bartender, what do you think people come? Are you just serving drinks, or are you doing something that, you know, allows these people to socially interact and become very happy human beings? You know, every job has a larger perspective to it, in the perspective of what you can do for the world and for people around you. So please look at it in that way. Please.
Thank you, Bina. It was very beautifully put, to recognize the uniqueness and value that they are contributing to the larger whole.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So we have a question. We are actually leading to the next question. How can we enhance our ability to experience the oneness of the universe in our daily life?
I actually answered that. Vinayji, okay. I answered that, and we talked about very simple things that you can do for other people.
Yes.
Start off with that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I'm just glossing over. There are many questions. So because in the interest of time, I really need to be selective, and I need to apologize for all our participants.
I'll be happy to answer them if you would like to do it on mail or any other form of communication. I'd be happy to do that if we are running out of time.
Sure. How do you want us to get? We can share your email ID and people can write to you. And
by all means. So should I just put it on the chat?
Please, yes.
Okay, I'll do it right now. All right. Okay, there you go.
So there's also a question asking for some more practical suggestions and help. Binaji, any tips for someone who is in a state of depression at the moment? Depression from a very long time, from childhood, a person who is disciplined and has tried to do everything possible to help the situation. So how can one help such a person?
All right, this is a very, very personal sort of question for me, because I had a sister who suffered from depression. And I can tell you one thing, that there are aspects to depression where you would need the intervention of an actual doctor, because then it's a chemical imbalance in the brain as well. All right. Mm-hmm. So if that's the situation, then, you know, I think it's important to actually go to a doctor and get medicated by a doctor so that you can get the right medication for it and keep your spirits up. But otherwise, if you're getting depressed about things that happen to you, just remember this very, very beautiful saying, which says, and this too shall pass. All right. So, you know, please understand that life is cyclical. You are going to go through ups and downs. That is part of life. And there is nobody I know on this planet that has not actually, you know, experienced that. So please understand that you will go through these ups and downs, but if you are down, you are going to see a situation that's going to take you up as well. So don't get depressed. In fact, the thing is that view yourself like you're actors on a stage. You're wearing a costume, and then after that you have to revert back. So this thing is, everything is it's just like a play acting that we're doing. If you look at it from a Vedantic perspective, it's just a play act. So just take it as easily as you possibly can. Take it as a learning, take it as something. And in my life, everything that I viewed as failures have always been stepping stones for me to either take me to the next level, whether financially or emotionally or even intellectually. So I've always gained, I've always learned something. And if some door closed for me, another door opened. So please don't get depressed by anything. It's not worth it. Life will turn around.
Thank you very much, Bina ji, for that reassuring and empowering statement.
Yeah.
I'm also reminded of Sri Aurobindo's words where he says, pain is the hand of God sculpting men to greatness. I mean, the way they come and they really share, as you were saying, how they'll push us to the next level.
They push us. Exactly. Yeah.
And also just to be aware that there is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
I think it's so empowering and helping.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So I'll take up a last question, which is about possibility of spiritual principles in business organizations. What has been your experience? Like, how are these ideas accepted and been brought into application? Any thoughts on that? And any organization that we can look up to which has these principles?
All right. Okay. So happiness is a big factor at the workplace. All right. If you have happy people, you have a happy team, what they can achieve for you is beyond even what you will actually put down on paper as a target. I've experienced it. So I must tell you that we had a team that we would actually break the records every single year consecutively for 3 years, 4 years, continuously. We just kept breaking the records. And why? And then I thought at that time I wasn't into happiness. I was just into just a corporate, I was in a corporate job and I was heading a large team though. But I realized that, everybody was happy. We were all happy to come to work and we were happy to actually give of ourselves to what we could do at the workplace. And then people were achieving things that were not even expected. It was beyond the realm of expectation. So I think it's important to be firstly, to be passionate about what you do. And the other big important thing is compassion. And this is what even Krishna Paniji talks about, our program director at Ritambara, is that, compassion is very, very important. Please remember, even at the workplace, you're working with people around you. And that compassion has to show up. If you're sensitive to them, what they can do for you when they reach into their inner selves and draw out all that huge potential that's there, it is amazing. And that is exactly what we want to do with our Ritambara wellness programs. That is what we're aiming for, to make people delve inside and bring out, the best in themselves. So just remember these two words, passion and compassion at the workplace. And keep a happy team. Keep a very, very happy team.
Thank you very much, Bina ji, for this lovely insights and experiences and the thoughts, and especially the experience that you have working with the industry, with the people who are actively involved in wellness, and also helping people in their progress and their development. I think all these experiences have been just poured into one session, and we are extremely grateful for what you have offered, and all our participants have expressed their gratitude, and they really appreciate the value of what they have received this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure, absolutely. Thank you.
And I'm also thankful to Ritambara Wellness for joining us in the celebration and also giving us few excellent teachers who will be coming soon. We'll have Krishna Pani ji, as Bina ji was mentioning, who will be leading a session on Yoga Sutra on Sunday morning in the 7 to 8 a.m. slot, where he will be providing us new insights, new ways of looking into Yoga Sutra and see how it can be applicable to our day-to-day living. And I want to come back to you with two things. One, you have already shared the details of your website. Is there any other way people can follow your work? I would want you to share about it. And also, one last message, parting message, or a guideline or a tip for practice which you want to share with our participants. But before that, I'll just make a quick announcement for the next sessions and I'll get back to you. Koti ji? So this evening, we have a wonderful session on the Yoga of Ramayana by Sri Rangan Ramakrishnan. Ranganji is very popular, is one of the popular modern day pravachanakaras. He is also the son of Krishna Premi Swamigal, who is known as Sri Anna, hails from a very illustrious family of Bhakti Parampara. So he will be speaking on the Yoga of Ramayana. I have been his colleague, I have been his student as well. And I know when he speaks about Ramayana, Rama stands in front of him. That is the joy you can see on his face. And I really invite each one of you to kindly join this session and enjoy the rasa of looking into Ramayana as a story of yoga and an unfoldment and progression of yoga. So do kindly tune in and also invite and inspire others also to join in for this session. And I would like to also add that on Saturday evening in the 7 to 8:30 p.m. slot, we have Krishna Das coming in for the Kirtans. Krishna Das is an international well-known figure in the world of Kirtan, bhajan singing. He's also a Grammy Award winner, one of the names in the field of music. And he will be with us presenting a Kirtan and a bhajan session on deepening the practice of yoga. So that way he will be with us. So kindly join us for all these sessions. We have the sessions going on up to 20, and because of the kind of response that we are getting, this might even get extended. So we'll come back to you with that good news soon. But yes, with this announcement, I come back to Bina ji for your message and as well as how can people reach out to you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So my last parting message is Trikarna Shuddhi, which is that your thought, your speech, and your action, align them at all times. So throughout your life, please be sensitive to that and be a witness to the fact that all of these three things should be aligned. That's when you will be congruent, you'll be authentic, and you will have the most beautiful life. I can assure you of that. It's happened to me, because really what you send out into the universe comes right back at you. It really comes right back at you. Shower love to people, that's what you will get back in return. You shower, anything to anybody, whatever you want, and it's going to come back to you multifold. So just be as authentic as possible, and please practice this. Your thought, word, and speech should all be aligned at all times.
Thank you, Bina ji, for this wonderful message. And it's so beautifully tying into the larger theme and also the world of yoga, because this is exactly what yamas and niyamas ask from a participant, from a student, from a seeker. If only yamas are followed, then everything can come in the way of yoga. If yamas are compromised, as you said, if there is no congruency, if there is no trikarna shuddhi, then nothing can take place out of it. So thank you very much for emphasizing the need for this practice, for keeping up the trikarna shuddhi and also the yama niyamas in this context. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I also would like to thank all our participants. We had about 150 participants on various platforms joining us for the session from different parts of the world. I could see some friends from Europe. It's quite early in the morning, yet they have made an attempt to join us for this session because they value what you were about to give to them. So thank you very much. Thanks to each one of you. Namaste, pranams.